It is halftime in Charlottesville. Virginia leads Miami 13-6. The Cavaliers kicked a field goal at the gun after putting together a decent drive in the final seconds of the first half after MarkRogersTV led Miami to a field goal drive that made it at that point 10-6. And of course, the story of the game we will get to in just a second. Other scores, primetime game in the Big Ten, a huge one here as Michigan picks off a pass from Alex Hornibrook off the deflection. I believe that is Josh Metellus taking this one all the way down to the 15-yard line for the Badgers. And Michigan has taken a 10-7 lead on a field goal and now has prime position with 4 minutes left in the first half to add to its lead. MarkRogersTV, the voice of college football, coming your way with the best discussion, debate, and analysis in college football online that you will find anywhere. We will strike up the phone line. The call-in line is 860-325-3687. I want to watch football tonight. You do as well. So I just thought it would be a good time to check in on the day's action since I've been gone most of the day. The day's action, the primetime games generally at halftime with Miami, Virginia at that point, Michigan and Wisconsin nearing that point. Alabama, does it really matter? They've got a 20-point lead at 30-10 against Mizzou. Those are the big games on the night. And a scary one for West Virginia right now, trailing in Ames against Iowa State, 20-14. Big game for Will Grier and the Mountaineers as they try to be that chic dark horse pick of sorts. Yes, we've got a call coming in. And I've got to keep the cord intact because my charger's almost dead. So I've got us all hooked up here, and we should be ready to go. All right, MarkRogersTV, the voice of college football. Who's on the line?
Hey, Mark. It's George.
Hey, George. What's going on?
Oh, my God. I'm having such a great day.
Having a good day, are you? Well, it didn't start out that way at 21-3 Vandy. It didn't start out that way.
You just got to hold on to the rope, Mark.
You do. Is that a PJ Fleck line or something? That's what it sounds like.
No, that's what Dan Mullen's saying nowadays.
Okay. Dan Mullen. Hold on to the rope.
Yeah, he makes them run up and down the bleachers with a rope, and even the fattest, lazy guy has to hold on. They can't go ahead without him, so. Not that we have any fat, lazy guys, but I'm just saying.
Of course you don't.
Thing.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. What do you think of these other games today, George?
Oh, my God. What a day. What a day.
Your LSU Tigers won, too.
I wanted to parlay. I wish I had a few more dollars to my name. I wanted to parlay LSU, Florida, and Alabama against the spread. Now, that's kind of a crazy pick, right?
It is.
You feel it. You feel it. Did Alabama cover?
Well, the Alabama part of it's going to be, who knows? As I have been yelling about the last few weeks, you just stay away from those big lines. Who knows what's going to be going on in the Alabama-Mizzou game late in the game?
Yeah, just for fun, though, since I'm not really betting, I thought that was three good logical games to take, LSU, Florida, and Alabama against the spread. Crazy.
I took LSU straight up.
Whatever, man.
I hope everybody
could have doubled their net worth this weekend.
Absolutely. I hope people are listening to my predictions. I tell everybody each week, don't do it. I'm not an expert. But at the same time,
right.
I took Oregon straight up. I took LSU straight up. I'm 7-3 against the spread right now. I'm 9-1 overall against the money line right now.
There's a bunch of hacks on the internet giving bad advice. You're just having fun, being honest. And if I'm ever going to bet, I couldn't do it without listening to your show and your guests.
I appreciate it, George. I appreciate it. So, yeah, 21-3 Vandy at one point. Were you taking that thing seriously at that point? Were you thinking, it's still early, we're good?
I was never, ever for 1 second bothered. Never, ever. I knew we were going to win. Yeah, it wasn't a thing like that.
Very good.
In all honesty, it was turnovers and shit. I didn't care. It's Vanderbilt.
Now, I did want to give Miami folks opportunity here, especially those folks that are watching the late night games and have their teams involved, in particular Miami, because their starting quarterback, or
I'm watching that game,
depending on who you think their starting quarterback
God.
has been pulled. So
I'm not going to say nothing about the Miami game. I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings.
So, Miami fans, I'm going to let you know that even though we've got George on the line, and my standing rule is that if I've got a call and we're in the middle of a discussion, I will ignore the other calls until we're done with the discussion. I will keep the phone lines open in regards to I'll continue the conversation with George. But if I get
Mark, I want you to get a Miami caller.
I would love to get a Miami caller. I want to know what they think of the switch in quarterbacks.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I'm here.
Damn. Excuse me, Lord. Man, what a day. Oh, I can't wait. We got a week off, then we got to play the mighty Georgia what team in the country? I forget.
Well, I've got to figure that out tonight. After all the games, I'll figure out where George is going to fall.
They sure make your job hard.
Not if they can't beat anybody good. They've beaten a bunch of bad teams, but they can't beat anyone any good.
I can't see Georgia beating Florida. I can't picture it.
You just can't picture that. Well, hopefully at this point.
I draw up some scenario, I just can't find one. I see no way Georgia wins in Jacksonville. Well, that's our domain. That's our turf. Yeah. They beat us last year for the first time in forever, and they just talk and talk and talk. It's so hilarious.
All right, George.
Anything can happen. Anything can happen.
Absolutely. We will talk Florida, Georgia a little bit later this week, and I'm going to get to these Miami people and Wisconsin, Michigan, Alabama, Mizzou as well. Yes, they did.
Tennessee beat Auburn.
Yeah, I saw the score. They did. That one didn't surprise me either, even though I did pick Auburn. I'm not saying I picked Tennessee, but that I certainly thought about picking Tennessee in that game. Wish I would have. Because Auburn's been showing these signs for several weeks that they're not all together. This isn't as good a team as we thought they were.
I think maybe Gus Malzahn has Alzheimer's or something. Like, what's going on in Auburn?
Well, I'm not going to be that critical of the man. I think he's still coaching a pretty decent football program, but they've looked pretty awful for about 4 weeks now.
That's my SEC West team. I have nothing to say. I'm stunned. Damn, really? All right. You got a caller yet?
I don't have any callers. I'm going to check out the live chat, George. You have a great night. We'll be here every day. You know where we are.
Say hi to everybody in the chat section and tell them I'll be right back.
And that they have to do what, George? Tell everybody what they need to do. No, there's something that everyone needs to do.
Yeah, like and subscribe, because Google Analytics, it's like Skynet. It knows if you like it, it puts it on other people's feeds like, this is a good show. So like the video. I've seen videos where everybody likes it, so we can do this.
I can count on George. There it is. Thanks, George.
Mark Rogers, the voice of college football.
Beautiful. We'll see you later, George. I appreciate the call.
All right. Later, Mark.
See ya. That was George, of course, Florida fan. And the Gators win down 21-3. They come back and beat Vandy 37-27. And I will be up so late tonight because I've got so much to catch up on, because it's usually my ritual to look at all the box scores, the game recaps of the major games, and then I work my way into the American Conference and all the way through college football, because I got to catch up on everything. Plus, I love to catch as many of the 30 and 60-minute condensed versions as possible. Right now, we've got Michigan going to the half against Wisconsin. 2 minutes left. Shea Patterson's looked good tonight. Had a huge 81-yard run in which he fooled the defense on the read option and took it left, and nobody was home, and they all got sucked in on the left side of the Wisconsin defense. All right, checking out the live chat. Before we get there, the numbers on N'Kosi Perry in the first half, of course, 3 for 6. 2 interceptions, 1 a real bad decision. I didn't see the other one, only threw for 20 yards. Malik Rocher comes into the game, and he didn't fare too much better. And he led the team down the field, and he took a bad – I don't necessarily know that it was a bad sack before the 1 field goal, because he was ambushed on that play. He really didn't have time to set up and even throw the ball away, and Miami's offensive line let them down on that particular play. So Rocher's checked down the ball. He's missed some throws. He's 2 for 7 as well. So the Miami quarterbacking, a lot to be desired tonight. It's 5 for 13 for 50 yards. This is taking us back to like 1972 football right now. Virginia leads 13-6 at the break. Let me check out the live chat to see what you guys are talking about. And of course, 860-325-3687. That's 860-325-3687. I'm at least going to stay on the line through the Miami-Virginia halftime and also probably Michigan-Wisconsin. We'll do that. Then we'll catch all the second halves of the big primetime games, Alabama-Mizzou included, West Virginia-Iowa State. Let's not forget about the Mountaineers. In trouble right now, down 6 to Iowa State. And late night, I'm real interested in watching Colorado USC as well. Hopefully you checked out the predictions. I got about 350 views on the predictions. And I know for you guys that I should get the predictions out earlier in the week. Me shooting predictions at 2 a.m. Friday night, Saturday morning doesn't help a whole lot of people out. They were out sooner than that, but they were pretty late. But you guys know who like to put a buck or two on a game, that picking the upsets against the money line is huge, is key in money management, because those are the big payoffs. And I told you that South Carolina was going to beat Texas A&M. They were a 3-point underdog. Well, I missed on that one. But I hit on 2 others. And if you hit on 2 out of 3 picking upsets, LSU as a 7-point underdog, I said take them in the money line against Georgia, and Oregon as a 3.5-point dog against Washington. I said take the Ducks straight up, and they won as well. So 2 out of 3 on the upset selections. All right, what do we got here? Oh, a lot of people on the live chat tonight. Number 1 ND fan. Woo-hoo, Georgia, yeah. Georgia down hard. Liberty City, 4-1. Liberty City, good to see you here on Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. This is the first time I've seen your handle. As we always like to ask, who do you root for and how long have you been watching? With my Carolina Blue on tonight, the Tar Heels playing Virginia Tech close tonight. I did take Virginia Tech to cover 6 points in that game. Clavon Bostic, good to see you as well. Roosevelt Davis, all we got is defense. Yeah, everything I've seen out of the Miami defense tonight has been pretty impressive. Jordan Ellis did get loose on a couple runs, not big runs, but key runs in a couple of those field goal drives for the Cavaliers. But besides that, the Virginia offense not doing a whole lot and doing what you would expect them to do. This is the script for a Virginia upset, of course. The defense taking advantage of a couple miscues, bad throws by Perry and Rocher, but most notably Perry. And Juan Thornhill brings back the 1 inside the 5-yard line. That leads to the touchdown, and there you go. No, actually, did that not lead to the touchdown? Did Miami get a stop and a field goal attempt on that one? I think. Valdez is on the line. Roosevelt Davis, have yet to see your handle, Roosevelt. Would love to know who you root for. We're going to take a poll at some point, get your thoughts and the reaction and response on who you guys root for. Would love to know the percentage of who roots for who that watch us. Zoom play. TCU, of course, going down on Friday night. Hate to bring that up, but we're just kind of recapping everyone as I see the various teams represented by everyone here. Michael Love, how is this possible? Mark, do you think Malik Rocher will stay in the game? Do you believe that means an instant loss for us unless our defense can pull it out for us? Go Canes. Okay, well, it's not an automatic loss, Michael, of course. Malik Rocher, for as questionable as his play-making ability is and his lack of development as a quarterback, still as a senior. Keep in mind, he did win 10 out of 13 starts last year, and the game before that against Duke a couple years ago, he lost against LSU. He's got something like a 13-4 record, 14-4 record as a starting quarterback, and Virginia is not a great team. They're going to finish in the 6-6 range this year. So your running game and defense should win this game if you just get manageable play out of the quarterback, meaning don't throw the game away. That's what they did in the first half, and that wasn't mostly Rocher, that was Perry. But between the quarterback play, you should beat Virginia. If you're Miami, you should be able to go on the road and beat Virginia in an ugly game, even if your quarterback doesn't give you much, but he can't hand the game away. If he goes 12 for 20, throws for 150 yards and a touchdown, and throws no turnovers, or at least a meaningless turnover, then you're okay. But he can't go, or a combination of the two, Rocher and Perry, they can't go 15 for 34 in this game with 3 or 4 interceptions. Then you're in trouble. Just don't hand the game over. You're better in so many other positions. Valdez on the line. Mark Rick sucks as a play caller. D. Rev Lee, I haven't felt this way about my team since the golden days. Oh, don't bring up that name. Mr. Golden, the golden days. So many ways you can flip a phrase with Al Golden, of course. Zoom play, Iowa State playing very good. I unfortunately haven't seen anything but scores in that game. I hope to catch up with that one at some point. But this is the frustration of college football Saturday right here. I've got Wisconsin, Michigan. That by far is the most important game being played right now. Miami fans, I know for you, Virginia fans, I hate to discount other teams. Virginia fans, hopefully we've got Virginia fans watching Mark Rogers TV. If you know a Virginia fan out there that doesn't watch Mark Rogers TV, they should be watching us. We cover Virginia football as well. We cover everyone. We try. Regardless, Wisconsin, Michigan's the big game of the night. Of course, if you're a Virginia Tech fan, then your game is in Miami, so forth and so on. Alabama, Missouri. But trying to track all these games and watch them all at the same time. So I was visiting my daughter on campus today. We had lunch. We were going to go to the football game, but we had a ticket situation. I won't go into that. But anyway, I come back this afternoon, and it's about a 2.5-hour drive. And so I got home early fourth quarter of the 3:30 games, and I see that Georgia's in trouble. I see Penn State's in trouble. I see the 3:30 Oregon-Washington game is a tussle at 17-all, then 24-all. And I did, you guys have to forgive me here. I dozed off for a few minutes. My 1 and 2 hours sleep per night kind of caught up with me. And so after the long 5-hour round trip drive, and getting up early this morning after being up super late last night, as I always am, kind of caught up with me. So I was in and out of the fourth quarter of the 3:30 games. I saw where Navy Thomas ate. And in Navy Thomas, if you're on the line tonight, man, I feel for you. I feel for you. I know that you must be practically numb at this point. With Nebraska football being 0-6, you probably no longer feel the pain. But regardless, I feel bad for you. You had a 98.7% probability chance of winning that game late in the game, up 10 against Northwestern. The Wildcats drive at 99. Nebraska's going 6. Regardless, so that's the only frustration with being a college football fan. Well, there's 2 frustrations. No, there's 3 frustrations, the playoff system. But besides that, the scheduling, that's another frustration. But the 2 main frustrations I have are the offseason. The offseason's too long. And then number 2, there's too many good games at the same time. Just like tonight, I want to watch Michigan, Wisconsin above anything else. But, man, I got to check in on Miami, Virginia, and Iowa State, West Virginia, and Alabama, Missouri, and on and on and on and on. And then especially that 3:30 window sometimes is just so prime and tough to keep up with everyone. I haven't caught up with the noon games yet. I've got all those games on DVR. All right. Again, what do we got here? Gables, Kane, Frank. This is so for Gables, Kane, Frank. And for a number of you out there that love the Canes, this is the reason I fired up the live stream at halftime here, was to hear from you about the Mark Richt decision, CMR. I love the initials, by the way, that Miami fans use for Mark Richt. They throw the coach in there, CMR. Donovan Robinson, what a great day to be an LSU Tiger. Yes, it absolutely is. I feel the pride, and I am reveling in the LSU win just because I feel so good about predicting LSU to win that game outright. It just felt right. Losing last week, I thought they would bounce back. I think Georgia's a little highly regarded. They're extremely good, extremely talented. But I felt good about that one. LSU not only covering, but winning the game. They won decidedly. Wow, by 20 points. Mike James Boxing, this is the first time I've seen you on Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Please like, comment, and subscribe. George said it best. I need to have George on as my pitch man. He says it better than anyone. So somebody's contacting me, but otherwise, would love to get a call at 860-325-3687. I'll leave it in the chat. And we, of course, will let you Miami fans get back to your second half. Michigan, Wisconsin still at halftime. Ohio State struggled today. They only led 17-14 late in the third quarter. They pulled away 30-14. Dwayne Haskins had another huge game, but the running game for Ohio State, very iffy. The offensive line and not getting the job done. I'll be interested to watch the tape as Ohio State took on a defense that was ranked 21st in the country, but they're not 21st in the country. That's where the stats lie. And Miami's back on the field against Virginia. We've got a 3rd and 12 as obviously the first two plays for the Canes coming out of halftime didn't go so well. N'Kosi Perry playing third-string quarterback now on the sideline, giving the signals. Jaron Williams as well. Second, third string. You know what I mean. Third down conversion rate for the Canes this year, 44%. That's pretty meaningless because they've played Savannah State and other like teams. And we've got a penalty on the Canes. So it appears as though we're talking about an illegal procedure type call here. Delay of game. Delay of game on the first series. Trying to get the plays in with the old starting quarterback who has started 18 or 19 games. That shouldn't happen. 3rd and 17. Let's see what play they dial up on 3rd and 17. Down 7 points to start the third quarter. Okay, RJ Entertainment, if you're still on the line, who do you root for? And how long have you been watching Mark Rogers TV? And by the way, welcome. Yeah, they'll dump it off here. Of course, you don't want to put Rozier in a position to have to read a defense and deliver the football on 3rd and 17. And this is typical. This is not a knock on him. This is typical of play calling in college football and in the NFL when you don't trust the quarterback to deliver and make a safe throw on 3rd and 17 because there are so many turnovers at that kind of down and distance. But we've got a call against the defense. This is going to be an automatic first down on the play on Rozier, number 33. That was an awful call. So Miami's lucky, gets bailed out on that call against number 33. Good player. I've seen him make a number of plays tonight. Don't know his name off the top of my head. But, yeah, the linebacker came in on the blitz, and he had a clean shot at the quarterback, and you're supposed to have a step and a half, but I guess real football doesn't apply anymore. All right. Rozier completes for about 7. Nope, it's incomplete. What happened there? Now, that ball was on time. It was there. I think that was just a plain drop by Brevin Jordan. All right, what else do you guys have in here? Sense of tumor. Miami's a terrible team with all that talent coming out of Florida high schools. 1/8 of the talent coming from Florida schools. Emmanuel Moreno. Wish SC scheduled 3 FCS teams and had a bye week every week. We got DJ Dallas. He needs to get the ball more. I don't watch every play of every Miami game. I can't. Well, I could, but I can't. That would be brutal. Savannah State, FIU. But sure, I watch the big games and the even the marginal games against the North Carolinas and the Virginias. And DJ Dallas needs to see the ball more. I don't understand that exactly. So the Canes have a 3rd and 1. They're at the Virginia 35. They've been helped out by that awful call against the linebacker and the late hit that wasn't, and it looks like they've got the first down. All right, Swampy McGee over under 57. So Vegas says USC 32, Colorado 25. Yes, they do. I'm taking the Buffs +7. I'm not supremely confident about that pick. I'm taking USC to win the game. Top 4 for Emmanuel: Notre Dame, Bama, Ohio State, Clemson. UCF would blow Miami out. I don't believe so, but I guess it's possible on a given day. But no, if they play 10 times, Central Florida and Miami, say Miami wins at 6 out of 10, something in that range. What do you guys think? Central Florida against Miami. They play 10 times. I hate to do they play one time who wins, even though that's what would happen. You guys should know from watching college football every week that different teams show up every week. Tennessee wouldn't beat Auburn every week if they played. And LSU wouldn't beat Georgia if they played every week. Now, it only counts when they do play. And yes, the Miami and Oklahoma helmets are coming. I promise. I should put that on my to-do list. It is on my to-do list already, which is a ridiculously long list. All right, guys, what do you think about the second half here? Miami, Virginia, let's close out the drive here on a 2nd and 8 at the 32. Rocher in the shotgun, of course, looks left, goes right. I'll go back to my play-by-play calling days, and he scrambles, and he's a decent runner. He's not Michael Vick, but he's a decent runner, and he almost gets a first down. We go back to 1995. I remember this game very well. This is the game in which Virginia finally broke Florida State's streak of winning all of its games against the ACC. So Florida State joined the ACC and never lost for the first 3 or 4 or 5 years, something in that range. And FSU is the number 2 team in the country, went to Virginia, and Warwick Dunn almost made it into the end zone to keep the streak alive, but he did not reach it, according to the officials. They needed replay on that. I don't know if his knee was down or not. And Virginia pulled off the upset. All right, back to 2018, 9.5 minutes left in the third quarter, and Miami trails 13-6. They're at the Virginia 24-yard line. Mark should do one in-game live stream. That would be cool. Mark with 4 live streams around him would be great. With 4 live streams around him. Oh, yeah. Yeah, if we could put 4 games around me. Is that what you're talking about? Uh-oh. This is going to be close. Well short. Okay. I thought, excuse me. I thought that was going to be close. All right. Miami getting stuffed. They went with Travion Gray, and yeah, he got pushed back. He didn't come close to the marker. So Virginia holds. Virginia holds. It would have been about a 41-yard field goal that would have made it 13-9. So the Canes down 7, third quarter, 8 minutes left, and Michigan and Wisconsin probably back on the field. All right. So here's the deal. You've joined Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. We deliver the best in discussion, debate, and analysis of college football with myself, you in the chat room, and on the phone line, 860-325-3687. And we're also joined by the best bloggers, broadcasters, and writers in the industry. So we get the voice from all of us, the voice of college football. You get previews and predictions as well. I will be releasing 3 Big Ten predictions and previews each and every week to SG1 Sports. So check those out at SG1 Sports. Also, we'll be doing a live stream on SG1 Sports starting next Sunday, not tomorrow, but starting next Sunday morning. We'll do a college football live stream on SG1 Sports each Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And I will continue to do my live streams here at Mark Rogers TV. All right. Also coming up tomorrow, of course, is going to be the top 25 that actually makes sense. And then we will also have our conference rankings. I know 288028 has asked for conference rankings, and I've got them. And I almost produced them yesterday, but I thought, well, I'll let the weekend pass and we'll revise and come back after the games are played on Saturday. And I will update my conference rankings and a whole lot of other things. King Buckeye. Tua slid down after a 10-yard gain in the second half. He has been fighting what seems to be an MCL sprain or something similar. Jamie has to be psyched today. His Oregon Ducks won. Jamie, teams need to play good teams early on. We'll lose first big game. Seeing some other names that I've never seen before. Good to see you guys. ST6 something. Good to see you guys. Good to see you guys in the chat. All right. We will be back after the ball games tonight. So I don't know if that's going to be after the primetime games, Michigan, Wisconsin, Miami, Virginia, and Alabama, Missouri. And let's not forget West Virginia struggling with Iowa State, or late with Colorado USC going at it as a key game in the Pac-12 South Division as the Buffs look to go to 6-0. Virginia takes over, and they run it for about 5 yards, protecting a 7-point lead. And, of course, Miami was a 7-point favorite in this game. All right, everyone. I would ask that you would like, comment, and subscribe if you like the delivery of college football right here. Analysis from myself, the live chat, the calls that we receive, some of the best callers in college football, 860-325-3687. And, of course, the best bloggers, broadcasters, and writers that we can find in the industry. Virginia with a 2nd and 5. And, man, they are playing this upset to a script, to a T. This is how you would call it. This is the type of game that you would envision Virginia pulling off this upset. And it's not a mighty, monumental upset. They were a 6.5 to 7-point underdog in this game. And Vegas apparently knew more than I did, as they typically do, about these games. Virginia seeking its first win versus an AP Top 25, and I couldn't read the rest of the graphic. It would have been a good note for me to put in this week's newsletter, The Voice of College Football. So please sign up for that as well. The Voice of College Football, our newsletter that's delivered to you each and every Monday. So just send your email to mine at MarkRogersTV@gmail.com, and we'll get you the newsletter, The Voice of College Football, each and every week with a channel update, my take and perspective on college football for the weekend. We'll get you any back issues as well. And then what people really seem to like to dive into are the stats, trends, and facts that you will find as Miami comes up with a sack. And I believe they've gotten themselves a stop. Yes, they have a 4th and 10. So they'll get the ball back, most likely in good field position around their own 35-yard line with Jeff Thomas back there. I believe that's Jeff Thomas. Here you go at the 32. Let's see what Malik Rocher has for us right now. I expected to hear more just anger, frustration, ire in the chat room about the decision to bench N'Kosi Perry. Because we all know that once he was benched for this game, that Mark Richt couldn't bring him back in this game, that he had committed to Rocher. And it's a gutsy call to a certain extent. I don't know if it's the right call, but it's a gutsy call. But this is why the man is being paid handsomely, is to make these kind of decisions and make the right decision. So he is paid at the quarterback position to do basically three things. He is paid to recruit excellent quarterbacks that will fit his system, who have the skill set to fit his system, number one, that also have the mentality as leaders potentially, and also the mental makeup to develop at the collegiate level as a quarterback. So he's got to recruit the right guys. Then number two, he has to select. He has to be able to watch in a spring camp setting. He has to be able to watch 5 or 6 quarterbacks and evaluate who the best are and narrow down that competition, or select a guy right then and there. So he's got to select the right guy, number two. And then number three, he's got to develop him in particular and build his offense or tweak it, because he's already apparently recruited and signed quarterbacks that will fit his system. So that's the first step there. But later, once he makes his selection of a quarterback, he should then be able to assess his playmaking abilities, what he does well, what he doesn't do so well, and tweak the play calling and the offensive approach to that quarterback. Even though he originally fit his system from a skill set and from a talent standpoint, then he needs to go back and slightly tweak the offense to play to his strengths. And that's what Mark Richt and every good head coach, along with his play caller and his quarterbacks coach, should be able to accomplish. Recruit the right guy, select the right guy, and then develop him. All right, folks, this is Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. We'll be back later tonight with instant analysis of all the late games and the primetime games and anything else that you want to talk about. Take down the number, put it next to your bed, put it on the fridge, put it on your treadmill, 860-325-3687. That's 860-325-3687. I'll put it one more time in the chat, and you guys will always have it ready for you at any time. I am so happy to see that Terry Ann McWright has joined the chat. I am not happy to see that Tua just went down. So if I flip to that game, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find out any information, but that, yeah, Tua has gone down, and somebody in the live chat had speculated an MCL. Miami back with the ball at its own 35. They went to DJ Dallas on first down. Mizzou at Alabama, and we've got a 3rd and 1. Bama's up 30-10. And Jalen Hurts, of course, on the field, since Tua is off the field. So I haven't seen a whole lot of this game, but from what I've seen, Drew Lock has not been at his best. And Missouri's made some dumb plays on offense and really botched some opportunities, but Alabama's obviously a much better team. And are up 30-10, and they're going to coast to a win here. But the storyline this game is that Tua Tagovailoa may have an MCL sprain of some sort or something in that vicinity. And it looks like the wide receiver, Ruggs, that he got twisted up below the knee as well. And he's limping off. Josh Jacobs with the ball, and Bama's going to coast home to a win. All right, folks, appreciate the time. Let's watch some football together for the rest of the night, and I'll be back to talk Colorado USC, Miami, Virginia. We'll see how this one wraps up. Of course, Michigan, Wisconsin, the big one of the night. The Tua Tagovailoa situation at Alabama as the Tide is rolling over Missouri. West Virginia in trouble against Iowa State, and the Mountaineers trying to stay undefeated, but we knew that the Cyclones would give them a game. Rocher going deep. Poorly thrown ball out of bounds. Gave his wide receiver Pope absolutely no chance, as Hall has made another good play. He's a good player, and he was in coverage against Pope. And I don't know that that was necessarily the place to be going with that. But at the same time, Hall somewhat forced him out, but he still had some room along the sideline. And there you go. All right, everyone. We appreciate you stopping by. And the live streams are always fun. And you guys enjoy the football for the rest of the night. And we will see you soon right here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Of course, like, comment, and subscribe. That keeps us going. We'll see you soon. Emmanuel, I appreciate the request for the game commentary. I enjoy doing that. What I need to do is get about 4 screens up here because I really want to watch Michigan, Wisconsin. But of course, I'm locked in on Miami, getting upset right now against Virginia. And we are only a half hour away, I believe, from Colorado, USC. West Virginia is going down right now to Iowa State. The last I saw, 20-14. There's just so much going on. Emmanuel, I appreciate it. Haven't called play-by-play since I was about 24, 25 years old, back in Ashland, Ohio, at WNCO, calling the Ashland University football games and the high school football and basketball games in that area. And of course, one of my rare memories was calling a swim meet all day in 95-degree heat, knowing nothing about swimming in particular, to call a swim meet. Swampy McGee, 4-screen, dream, scene, streaming. #1 ND fan. If you aren't flipping between 4 and 5 channels, are you ever even watching college football? Oh, man. For the days that people can't now believe that we were at a place when we used to not only just watch one game, but it didn't have the score on the screen for most of the game. Tune into ESPN Classic sometime and see a game from the 1980s, and you don't see a score for like 15 minutes. People actually had to sit and watch the game, know what the down and distance was, and have the score in their head. And then if somebody walked into the room or came home, they just have to wait. You just have to wait around until they decided to show the score. It might be the end of the first quarter before you saw the score on the screen. And then they got really advanced when they started to put out-of-town scores on the scoreboard. And they did that like in the 1960s, but it would take them forever. Swampy Mark has a little bit of Marv Albert and Kevin Harlan. Well, those guys are way beyond me, and they've logged a couple million more hours of play-by-play. Gus Johnson. Yeah, Gus Johnson. Boy, that guy either annoys people or they love him. And I'm typically in the love category for Gus Johnson. I just think he just oozes passion for the game, and he just loves it. And that's his style. Gus Johnson was doing a promo prior to the Ohio State game last week. I don't know which game he was doing. And he said, coming up next, so-and-so versus B. And then he kept talking. That was his intro for Ohio State football. He didn't say Ohio State. He just said B. That's all he said. So we are highlighting Miami's defensive line against UVA's offensive line. And again, we've got a 13-6 game with Jordan Ellis just carrying the ball for UVA. This is going to be a slugfest. This is just going to be old school, grind it out. Who makes the big mistake? Who turns it over? Who can bust one play? Who can blow one coverage? Who's that going to be? Because this isn't going to be your typical 2018 42-38 game where, we gave up a touchdown, big deal. Our offense is back out on the field. No, you gave up a touchdown. You might have just lost the game. And Bryce Perkins, the JUCO transfer, starting quarterback for Virginia that we've been waiting to see all offseason. This is why he was brought in to run Bronco Mendenhall's offense, a la Taysom Hill, that we now see taking some snaps in place of Drew Brees with the New Orleans Saints. And Manny Diaz is trying to deal with this right now. He's over there, got his arms crossed, and he's thinking it over. How do we stop this kid? Because otherwise, this type of approach is going to grind the clock to dust. And Miami's only going to get the ball a few more times if they're able to execute this way. There he goes. Outside the pocket. He's got 9 to 10 yards and close to another first down. This is the script. And this is why we can't look at the schedule, even though it's fun to do, and I do it as well. This is why we can't look at the schedule and say, Miami's going to have a tough game against LSU, and they're going to have a tough game against Florida State. And it's a little bit tricky against Boston College on the road on a Friday night and against Virginia Tech, of course. But otherwise, they're good, and it's going to be 11-1 or 10-2. 10-2 is what I predicted. These games, that's why I don't say, and you'll hear me when I make season predictions, I'll say Miami's better than Virginia, Georgia Tech, North Carolina, Duke, even Virginia Tech, and everybody in the ACC Coastal. But if you group all those games together and say, they've got, minus themselves, 6 games against those kind of teams, chances are they're going to slip up once, because those teams are good enough on a given night that if they're bringing their A game or something close to it, and Miami's bringing its C game, that they're going to get tripped up like they did last year against Pitt, like Clemson has against Syracuse, or Pitt, like Alabama did consecutive years against Ole Miss, although the Rebels team was much better than the teams that we're talking about here, like Ohio State did at Iowa, like Oklahoma did it against Iowa State last year. And that doesn't mean Miami's definitely going to lose this game. They're only down a touchdown. But it looks like that kind of game, doesn't it? It looks like they're going to lose this game 19-13, 16-13. That Virginia just needs one more score to take a 2-score lead. And even if Miami scores once, they're just not going to have that much time. And yeah, in a regular college football game in 2018, 2 minutes left in the third quarter, there's an eternity left in this game. But the way this game's being played, it's being played like a game in 1982. The clock is just running. It's just going. Antonio Brooks is on the line. LSU has to get past Mississippi State, then the bye week, then they've got Alabama. Is this Auburn from last year? Maybe. USC Gamecock. Muschamp is done in South Carolina. He will be fired after either this week or next. Do we really think that Will Muschamp is going to get fired because they've lost 3 or 4 games? They could finish 7-5 this year. I understand that's a step back, but he's made the progression from 3 wins to 6 to 9. Will Muschamp, unless there's something else outside of football going on, is not going to get fired this year. Mark, did you watch Notre Dame Pitt? I did not. I did not see anything from this afternoon. I went to go see my lovely daughter in college. It was a family weekend, and I went out there. I was going to go to their football game, but that's another story. We hung out at her sorority, and we went to lunch, and we had a great day, and it's a 5-hour round trip, so I got home in the fourth quarter of the 3:30 game, so I missed everything at noon, and I had that DVR. It's probably smoking by now, running on everything at noon and 3:30. Now, whether I'll catch up to that, my son makes fun of me all the time because he looks at the list of games that I've DVR'd and he's like, you never go back and watch these games. Never. is an overstatement, but he's right. Most of the time, it just becomes too overwhelming to get back and watch all these games. I do want to see Ohio State, Minnesota. I want to see Michigan State, Penn State. I want to see the Notre Dame Pitt game. Maybe I'll watch the fourth quarter to see what happened, because I understand Pitt had issues with clock management in that game. Oh, what happened here? 1st and 10 as we go to the fourth quarter. Going to the fourth quarter? Yes, going to the fourth quarter. So UVA has a first down as they're methodically driving down the field. This reminds me, just this particular drive, they've taken up so much time and they barely moved the ball. When Illinois in 2007 beat number 1 Ohio State on the road, they held the ball for the final 8 minutes of the game. And they didn't even score. They didn't even get to field goal range. I had to rewatch the drive just to believe it, because I thought after Ohio State lost, I was like, they didn't even have, because I was thinking, well, when did they blow this game? When did their offense not come through? No, wait a minute. They didn't even have the ball the last 8 minutes. Wait a minute. And I rewound the game and I watched and Illinois kept getting to 3rd down and 4th down and 4th and 1 and 3rd and 1 and converting just barely. They never ran a play for more than 4 yards, and they just kept the ball and kept the ball and kept the ball and kept it in bounds, and they ran out the clock without even getting the ball from like their own 20 to the Ohio State 40. That's what Virginia's doing right now. And Miami's probably only going to see the ball 3 more times in this game. So they better score and score touchdowns. Wouldn't Kiffin leave if he made South Carolina good? All right. Can't exactly dive into the live chat. You guys are obviously talking it up there. This, again, is Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. So whether you're watching us live or you were catching this after the video posts, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions about what we do, send me a comment. I will explain. Otherwise, just check out the videos, because we cover college football each and every day, not just during the regular season, not just during the playoffs, the entire year. We cover and talk college football every day of every year, all the time, right here. This time, I am actually going to sign off. Emmanuel pulled me in last time, but you guys enjoyed the second half of the games. I will as well, and I will see you late night tonight at some point to wrap up Saturday. And I've got a whole lot of announcements to make concerning content and where it's going to be in the future, but we'll get to that at a later date. This is all about college football today and the big games tonight. We will see you soon right here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football.